This is my Thrustmaster T300 RS, and as you can see, it's a bit dead. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different to all of my other videos. It's the very first time that I'll probably be the main feature of this video. And secondly, it's just, I'm going to talk about my experience with Thrustmaster here. It's an interesting one. Now, to start off, I just want to say to Thrustmaster, I'm not discrediting you in any way. I'm not calling you out. I'm not trying to make a show of you. It's just my brutal, honest opinion of you as a company. It goes back to around 2011 when I got my first force feedback wheel. It was a Logitech Driving Force GT. Pretty good wheel. You spend a lot of time playing it and I generally enjoyed it. However, when I got my PlayStation 4, which is right here, I had to get rid of it because it wasn't compatible. That was really annoying for me because I had the wheel about 4 years at that stage and it was hard to get rid of it, but I just had to move on. And at that time, there wasn't any other wheels available which were affordable. The only one I picked was the Thrustmaster T150. And at first, for like the first 3 weeks after I got off for Christmas, it was great. Force feedback was very good and the paddles I really enjoyed. However, after a month or so, the power cable, which it's stuck. Let's just show some here. This power cable here on the T300 you can plug out. On the T150 it was fixed into it. And then of course, that went bad. And then when that went bad, the wheel itself just dropped dead. Thankfully, I only had the thing a month, so I was able to return it. And at that time, I was pretty busy with school and stuff, so I just asked for a full refund. And then about 6 months later, I had a bit more money in, and I kind of started looking for another wheel again, because it was summertime and I had more time on my hands. And I was on Amazon, and I knew when I had the T150, I always wondered what the T300 was like. And so, I went out looking for one. And thankfully at that time, it was shortly before I turned 18, so as a present I got an Amazon gift voucher. And on top of that, they had an offer that if you joined Prime, you got £50 off this wheel. And at that point, this wheel was worth £250. That was incredible value. And anyway, so then at that point I decided that I would buy this wheel. And I felt pretty good about it. It was worth $250 and I got £90 off it. So I was delighted with myself. And best of all, because it was Prime, it arrived 2 days after I bought it. And since then, that was very good. And bear in mind, that was July 2016. And sadly, about this day last week, this wheel I don't know how to say this kindly, but it eventually died. So about 2 years and 8 months, it was just under 1,000 days I had this wheel. And then I decided to give up on me. And it was the very first time that this wheel had any problem with it. Now you might just say, well, why don't you just get it returned and get a warranty? My warranty's gone. It's a real pity that this wheel is given up because I do generally like it. It was the best wheel I've probably ever used. My only gripes being the pedals are terrible. And build quality in comparison to my Logitech wheel just isn't up to scratch. There's a lot of plastics here and there and they crack a bit, and I also hate this clamp thing, it's not that great, which you get underneath the wheel. However, other than the reliability problems I've had with Thrustmaster wheels, they're bloody brilliant wheels. They are very good and I do use them a lot. This wheel in particular was just incredible. I love how you could just detach the wheel when you wanted to. I love the paddles, they feel really great. The buttons feel good. But despite this wheel itself, everything else kind of falls down a bit in terms of your price. So for £250, I feel you pay for the wheel and this base, more or less, and you get the pedals for free. So now the question is, what do I do? Now, when this problem happened with the calibration, which you just saw there, I, first things first, went online and just seen if anyone else had the problem. And a load of people did. Some people said that just recalibrate it, which I did, and it worked 100%. Other people who still had warranties sent us back to Thrustmaster, got theirs repaired, and they gave it back, so happy days. But Thrustmaster didn't tell them what was wrong with their wheel, so I couldn't see if I could fix it myself. And lastly, they said like, oh, this is a temporary fix, which it was. Like, when I recalibrated the wheel, it worked. But then once I turned off my PlayStation or my PC or plugged it out and plugged it back in again, it lost calibration again, which is a bummer. So after that, I emailed Thrustmaster. And I noticed that a load of people give Thrustmaster dirt about their customer service. I strongly disagree. Like, they replied back to me in less than a day, and they were honest. I showed them the video, I showed them everything. And they basically told me that it could be either an issue with the software, which as I recalibrated it, sort of isn't. And they said it could be mainly hardware problems, so the motor and stuff, and the belt. And they said, to fix that, because I was out of warranty, I'd have to send it to France, where Thrustmaster wheels are built, at €120. So that is clearly a bit steep for me to really repair it. Now I currently have my eye on a Logitech G29. I remember I actually was going to buy one of those wheels before I bought this one. And at that time, there were no offers on sale and they're bloody expensive. Like, the wheel was just out. And as I learned with the T150, buying something that is just released tends to be a bit crap. And like, you realise, give it a few months, oh, like its rough edges would be smoothed out. And that is more or less what happened. And now, looking back at Amazon now, the reviews of this, when I bought this wheel, were high praise. Now they're a bit hit and miss. Like, it's only at 4 stars, I think. Meanwhile, the G29's at 4.5. And it's had more reviews. And it's had much more praise. And then after, like, this wheel gave up, it's kind of like, it lasted, as I said earlier on, about 2 years and 8 months. And with frequent use, I'd use it 5-6 times a week. It was pretty good. It did its job. And like, other until last week, it had no issues. The only issues I have found is that there is a lot of rust. These pedals have rusted a bit. Don't understand how. And even the wheel itself was rusted. I noticed the Allen keys and the paddles have a lot of bad rust on them. But I think that's because of the room I'm in. This is my college accommodation and there's a bit of mould in the bathroom and all that. Just usual student accommodation. But back to my point of how long this wheel lasted. I said to myself that it was pretty good. Until it hit me. My Driving Force GT lasted 4 years. It cost half as much as this. It was... Now, I wouldn't say it was just as good now. This is way better, obviously, but as a budget wheel, I felt I got more bang for my buck with my Driving Force GT than I did with this. And with Driving Force GT, I used it way more because I was younger at the time and I didn't have a job. So like, if I was off school for the weekend, that playing Gran Turismo with my Driving Force GT was what I'd be doing. So yeah, so build quality lets Thrustmaster wheels down. And that is kind of a make or break moment. And that is really annoying because, like I said earlier on, I do really like this wheel. Anyway, I think that is all I have to say. I do thank Thrustmaster for making great products. Like, if I was still under warranty, I'll be replacing this. That's just how it is. So yeah, now I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's very weird, it probably won't do too well, but who really cares? I just decided to have a little opinion on this and just talk about these wheels, just help you out if you want to buy one. Anyways, thanks for watching.